Mortal Shell 2 is a game I planned on making a build and review video for this week, but instead, it's going to be a why I didn't finish this game video. I called it quits before the end due to some of the world design decisions, some of the combat and enemy design, and most of all, because of the insane amount of bugs I encountered all throughout the playthrough. At almost every single major boss, I encountered some sort of bug, with them either flying up in the air or having some weird incomplete animation that dampened my ability to fight them. This is going to be a spoiler-filled video, so do continue on at your own risk. This video is going to be a bit more ranty and less scripted than my average video, so do be prepared for that. For the world design, it is semi-open world, and you have a map to navigate it with. On said map, you're gonna see all these mini dungeons, and the rough location of different new weapons and shells for you to use. Gaining the shells proved interesting. For Eredrim, you had a battle in the middle of the citadel. For Smert, you had to kill enemies in certain areas. And for Janessa, you had to bring an item to her after a boss encounter. Easily one of my favorite parts of the game. I only wish you got more glimpse throughout your playthrough, which is the currency you use to unlock new shell abilities. I made it to the end game and was only able to unlock all of Teal's abilities, a lot for Eredrim, and a bit for Janessa. Many other things you find throughout your journey will be found in mini dungeons. I don't have anything super positive or super negative to say about these. Some were interesting. There was one where you got locked up and had to recover your equipment by finding a couple keys real quick and then fighting your way out. One was based around illusions, where you had to knock down illusory walls or walk through portals to change how the dungeon was set up. That was an early game dungeon and very enjoyable. I was checking the map for them later in the playthrough and one just didn't have its name load. It was called Invalid Dungeon Name on the map, so yeah, that's great. By the way the world was set up, I thought there would be so much verticality in these level designs, but there ended up being not that much. Sure, there are plenty of times where you drop down on a ledge to access a new area of a dungeon or the world, but I didn't find any areas where if you look off to the side of the cliff and you are really inquisitive, you can find a secret or a shortcut to get around a tough enemy. Other games in the genre seem to do verticality better than Mortal Shell 2. I didn't find myself satisfied that I opened up a huge shortcut that glued the whole level together nicely. This wasn't something that really happened throughout my playtime. The game was not afraid to place checkpoints, the beacons, far from each other. It made me really consider, do I want to engage with these enemies? Do I want to skirt by them? Or do I want to double back and secure all my gloom and level up? There were some boss runbacks, and they didn't really serve too much of a purpose. It wasn't like in Dark Souls 1, running back to Gwyn's Arena, where you could farm some amazing material, or Code Vein 1, where before a boss fight, you could increase your max I-core and make the fight easier if you decided to engage with a runback. There was none of that here. It felt like a return to the days where the difficulty of the game rested in the level design and the boss runback itself, like in Demon's Souls or Dark Souls 1, but I feel the genre's moved beyond that since. The difficulty very much rests within the boss fights, so I don't see too much of a purpose to these boss runbacks. If there was some sort of Stake of Marika equivalent added in this game, you'd see no complaint from me. Let's talk about the combat for a second. At its core, it was very fun. Getting more resolve, expending that resolve on your skills and your gun. I had a skill build going where I would critically attack after the use of my skill and get enough resolve back where I could use the skill almost immediately after. It would constantly apply poison stacks to the enemy, and later on it would guarantee a critical hit on my next melee and ranged attack. This would all work well if there wasn't so much jank and repetition I encountered with the combat. Sometimes I would use a skill to apply the poison, but it would not work on the enemy for some reason. This happened with the Sir Isaac boss fight a few times. Maybe I was missing or he was somehow immune in that phase. And sometimes on skill cast, the enemies would go flying each and every way. This again happened with Sir Isaac. I used my skill on him and he went flying up into a mountain, crashing back down and throwing the tempo off for the fight. There were some strange animations in this fight, among others, where one of his second phase moves looked incomplete. He would kind of teleport around, but otherwise I loved learning this fight. I used the block seal for much of the playthrough, and getting the tempo down for all of his attacks was a joy. It's a shame it was tempered by all this jank. Let's talk more about the bugs now. First, I had the Shepherd boss teleport out of the arena, and I was unable to reach him. For the Lost Child, so many parts of the arena or interactions between my character and the boss made either of us fly up in the air. I know I have a plunge attack recorded randomly in the middle of the fight. I'll show that here. At the tail end of the Hexapod fight, there was this projectile that would not despawn. I'm not sure if this is intentional. It didn't despawn after the boss died, so I'm leaning towards no. Along with a poison affliction, this ended up killing me, so I had to re-enter the boss arena and trudge around in the fog to look for my gloom and the beacon for far too long. In the Droeg fight, his projectiles broke. Maybe it was targeting a clone or where I died recently, but in the latter part of the fight, none of the projectiles went towards me. And all throughout the game, I saw it first on the Arbiter of Flesh right at the beginning. There is this double spin move. You're gonna see it on elites and bosses alike all the way up until the end. The boss I stopped playing on, the Malborn, had this too, so get used to this move. What first almost made me stop playing is a mandatory section in the Hushed Sanctum where you have to spend some time on an enemy to traverse a death plane all beneath you. Problem is, I kept falling off of this enemy. So I tried again and again. The game updated, I tried it again, still didn't work. So I broke my one rule for first playthroughs, and I looked up stuff about the game before I completed it. Turns out the one solution to this is keep trying until it works. And after many repeated attempts, it finally got me to the other side. I ran past the elite enemy and finished the area. This was a mandatory beacon cleanse, so it's not something I could just skip until it's fixed. This should have been my sign. I should have quit here. In the final area, the Tar Golem only glitched out on top of me a couple times. The critical attack animation is completely broken. Your character floats off the enemy. And it reminds me a lot of the one-handed kill in Skyrim for the dragons, where you jump on top of the dragon's head. That animation has never worked, so it did put a smile on my face, reminding me of that. There were two bugs that finally broke me. When I was fighting the Malborn, unfortunately I quit out before I could record this. There must have been some weird interaction with a critical attack or skill attack because the boss's sword disappeared from his hands, but was still able to hurt me, of course. And when I was exploring this area, a cutscene randomly started. I believe this is for the final boss, which is strange because I was not there at all. But because I was next to one of the hermit crab enemies, it attacked me and killed me within the cutscene. The Malborn fight is actually after this area, so I don't even know why I tried to attempt it. That is when I decided I had enough with this game. I was not having fun. Hopefully by the time you play this, all of these things are patched out and fixed. I have since looked up some other reviews for this game, and not too many people seem to be mentioning all of these bugs. So maybe I have a personalized copy, and I have been unwillingly dragged into some bad creepypasta or something. But fellas, I can't bring myself to beat this game. This has not been fun for a long while, and if you're playing this game yourself, I hope you're having a much better time than I was. Apologies for the out of character video this week. Next week, I will have a build for you. Tarnished Edition is coming out, the DLC for Code Vein 2 is coming out, and I have an anniversary video coming up for the channel. If you do like build videos, or Souls-like content in general, do be sure to like and subscribe to The Jersey Side. I will see you all next week.